Welcome back and happy cherry blossom season.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be covering stories from the peak bloom season to the cancer diagnosis of the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton.
We'll also highlight the increase in GW's tuition for the next school year and the possibility of a TikTok ban in the United States. I'm Ananya Ganesi.
And I'm Preston Summit.
The secure D.C. crime bill has been a hot topic for the past few months. Mayor Muriel Bowser signed it into law in early March, and D.C. residents are already starting to see its effects. The bill has the goal of cracking down on the increasing crime rates D.C. has seen in the past year. One new development is that hopping a turnstile or dodging the metro fare some other way can lead to fines of up to $100 or even being arrested. GW students are already seeing a greater police presence in the Foggy Bottom Metro, and this is reflected throughout the district. So make sure you don't forget your U-Pass. This new bill is already receiving criticism, but according to Mayor Bowser, it's here to stay. Quote, "We will not tolerate violence, and we will not tolerate criminal activity that disrupts our sense of safety and our ability to build thriving neighborhoods," end quote.
Female athletes have been making history this March Madness season. Attendance and viewership are at an all-time high. Iowa, playing Holy Cross, had over 3 million viewers on ABC, making it the most-watched non-Final Four game in women's tournament history. Iowa's Caitlin Clark has broken scoring records and is being looked up to by young female basketball players everywhere. Not to mention, Southern California's Juju Watkins and Notre Dame's Hannah Hidalgo had two of the most productive freshman seasons ever. However, this historic season has had some issues. Utah women's basketball team faced racism near their hotel and ultimately had to change to a hotel 30 miles away. Other teams have also faced housing problems that the men's teams have not faced. But looking ahead to next year, teams are hoping for better planning and logistics.
Earlier this month, GW announced that their tuition rates for the next academic school year will be increasing. Dylan Ebbs has a story.
GW's tuition will increase in the upcoming academic year, the university announced on March 18th. The increase of about $2,270 comes as tuition and prices increase all over the country. GW's tuition for the 2024-2025 academic year will be $67,420, and mandatory fees will remain at $290. The increase, estimated by GW Today to be about 3.5 to 4% per year for each student. Here's what some students think about the increase.
I hate it. I really hate it. GW already, as is, has one of the most expensive tuition rates across the country.
I think it's a little messed up. It's kind of expected with inflation increasing and prices going up for everything.
However, GW continues to emphasize that the Financial Aid Office will continue to provide financial aid and support to students throughout their academic career. Some students, though, are worried about this.
It's not hard to get into GW as far as the acceptance rate, but as far as the people that go here, it's either kids who come from very, very upper middle class families who can afford it or people who are financial aid students. Like, I'm a financial aid student, but I couldn't count on my two hands kids I know from public school alone.
This is not a new trend, though. Colleges and universities across the country are continuing to climb to rates never seen before. In fact, a Forbes article from the past year calculated a 180% increase in the amount of tuition paid by a four-year full-time college student from 1980 to 2023. With increases in tuition, housing, and inflation, should students be worried about the future? Here's what GW professor Robert Van Order, financial expert and professor of finance, says about the situation.
It will certainly keep up with general inflation. And my guess is more than that. It's likely that tuition will grow faster than inflation, and that's what's necessary to keep the universities in business. It is the case that an undergraduate degree pays more than the cost of going through it. But that doesn't help in the short run when you're out there and you've got a job and you've got a loan to pay off. And that's just tough.
Either way, students can expect increases not just next year, but in the following ones too. Professor Van Order emphasizes the importance of financial literacy for students.
Think about financial literacy. Think about simple things like, what does interest mean? What's the time value of money? What are you doing when you pay interest? Think about where you think you're going to work in the future.
For GWeek, I'm Dylan Ebbs.
Thanks, Dylan. Millions across Russia continue to mourn after a mass shooting at Crocus City Hall in Moscow. The The death toll now is 143, and 80 others remain hospitalized. The attack, which took place on Friday, March 22nd, was the deadliest extremist attack on Russian soil in nearly 2 decades. At least 4 gunmen armed with automatic rifles fired into the crowd and set the concert hall on fire. The 4 men have been taken into custody, and the terrorist group ISIS-K has claimed responsibility for the attack. ISIS-K is a subgroup of ISIS based in the Khorasan province. Russian officials have claimed that Ukraine and the West had a role in the attack, which Ukraine has adamantly denied. The United States issued a warning on March 7th regarding a possible attack, but this warning was denounced by President Vladimir Putin, who called it, quote, an attempt to frighten Russians and blackmail the Kremlin before the Russian presidential election, end quote.
It's cherry blossom season in D.C., which is one of the most popular times for tourists to visit the crowded tidal basin. Wondering where the best places are to view the beautiful flowers? Christina Stasis has the story.
Springtime is here, which means the iconic cherry blossom trees have returned to the nation's capital. Here are some fun facts about the attraction, the best places to witness the bloom, and the potentially unfortunate fate of the beloved blossoms. Spring is undoubtedly the best season to be in DC, as the entire city is covered in beautiful pink and white flowers. These cherry blossom trees were in pink bloom from March 23rd to March 26th. However, there are still a few weeks to catch these stunning blossoms. From March 20th to April 14th, the city will be hosting its annual National Cherry Blossom Festival, which is a series of events to initiate the beginning of springtime in DC. This festival is in honor of the gift of 3,000 Yoshino cherry trees from Japan to the United States in 1912 to symbolize the friendship between the two countries. The best places to view these classic cherry blossoms include the Jefferson Memorial, which provides a panoramic view of the tidal basin, and the National Mall, which are all lined with trees. Additionally, you could get a picture-perfect view of the flowers right from the center of the tidal basin on a paddle boat. There are many other places in the district where you could see the cherry blossoms, but if you're a Foggy Bottom resident, you don't have to look much further than GW's campus. Unfortunately, the worsening of climate change causes more than 150 trees to be cut down between the Thomas Jefferson Memorial and the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial as a result of rising sea levels and warming temperatures. The debilitating conditions of these trees have been showcased in the causes of unofficial mascot Stumpy, which is a rundown cherry blossom tree along the tidal basin. In 2019, the National Trust for Historic Preservation named the tidal basin as one of the most endangered historic places in the United States. However, the Great American Outdoors Act Legacy Restoration Fund is funding a $113 million rehabilitation project that aims to protect sea levels from rising and cherry blossoms from enduring harm from climate change. Take some time to go outside and admire these iconic and beautiful cherry blossoms. I'm Christina Stasis from GWeek.
Thanks, Christina. A huge cargo ship lost power and collided with Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing a collapse that killed 8 people. According to crew members, the ship experienced a complete blackout just minutes before it made contact with the bridge. In those 5 minutes, the ship's crew sent out a mayday call to hold all traffic on Key Bridge, and Transportation Authority police officers were able to act quickly enough to save countless lives from driving across the bridge. Many experts say that this was the best-case scenario. The size of the ship and how close it was when it lost power meant that even dropping an anchor likely would not have slowed the ship down enough to correct the course. Of the 8 casualties, 7 were road workers on the bridge, and 1 was an inspector. This was the deadliest bridge collapse in over a decade, and authorities are still investigating the cause of the accident.
Let's welcome weatherman Dan, who will guide us through the weather for the rest of the cherry blossom season. I'm hoping for some warmer weather. Dan?
Good morning and welcome back to GWeek. My name's Dan Sleem, aka Weatherman Dan, and let's jump right into it. So looking at this upcoming week's weather, it truly gives us a warm welcome to the epitome of April showers. So temperatures are going to take a pleasant turn upwards, but still not enough to embrace those shorts and polos. So to get a little more specific and break it down for you, from Monday to Wednesday, you're going to want to carry an umbrella around. But notice what that does for us. It's going to cool down that daylight that we anticipate during this time of year, and that gives us a nice set of days afterwards. All right, so take, for example, this upcoming weekend where we could be seeing days like Saturday, the 6th of April, hit the mid-60s. All right, so on top of all of this, DC should expect some gentle breezes ranging from 6 to 12 miles per hour. Now, taking a look at our pressure system map, we can see that these early April showers are caused by this massive green concentration right here coming from the west. That's precipitation. Now, notice how this time last year, temperatures were rather warmer. So what's stopping us from having days like that? Well, it's Mother Nature and the cold front right behind that area of precipitation. What makes up for it, though, is this high pressure system all the way on the west coast that is going to travel to us, and it's going to make itself to us by the end of the week. All right, so cherry blossom seasons. They're blooming pretty early this year, and it's a sad situation. But what I do have to say for that is climate change and the increasing sea levels and temperatures are what's responsible for this. Now, it also contributes to why trees like our beloved Stumpy over here, they can no longer stay where they are. So with the rising levels of the tidal basins, seawalls, and higher blockades, they are needed to ensure that this monumental area doesn't get overflooded. So that is why Stumpy will no longer be where he is right now. And so while peak bloom season will be long gone when you're watching this, the tidal basin blossoms are still a great area for photos, romantic dates, and perhaps even one last farewell to our beloved Stumpy. So with that being said, I'm Weatherman Dan. That was your forecast, and I'll see you next time. Back to you, Ananya and Preston.
Thanks, Dan. Sports betting bar Expat opened in Western Market in early March, replacing Italian restaurant Bertucci's. The two-story bar serves alcohol and classic Southern fare during lunch, dinner, and late nights. While initially slated to open in 2022, Expat delayed its opening after community members expressed concerns about gambling on a college campus. Owner Ben Sislin has stated the bar will open without sports betting, but that he's not opposed to adding it in the future. Sislin hopes to cater to GW students as well as International Monetary Fund and World Bank workers, giving them a place to socialize and hang out away from the pressures of everyday life.
The Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, has been diagnosed with cancer after being deemed missing for months. Sophie Clark has the story.
The Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, has been at the center of media attention over the last couple of weeks. Conspiracy theories about her whereabouts consumed social media platforms the past month as people around the world were wondering where she was. The media frenzy began when Kensington Palace announced Kate would be having a planned abdominal surgery on January 16th. The next day, the palace said the surgery was successful, but Kate would stay in the hospital for 2 weeks to recover. She returned home at the end of January, but the palace announced she would not return to her royal duties for several more weeks. This began to stir up speculation as Kate had not been seen publicly since her last royal engagement on Christmas Day. Kate later celebrated Mother's Day in the UK by posting a picture of her smiling with her 3 children. Only a few hours after the photo was posted to the princess's official social media accounts, many news agencies redacted the image due to photo manipulation. This led social media users to believe that that wasn't a real photo taken of Kate, leading to further speculation on her health and well-being. Last week, Kate put all these conspiracy theories to rest when she announced she was diagnosed with cancer.
It was kind of embarrassing almost for people to be joking about it so much, and then kind of people were kind of eating their words once they found out that she was actually going through something. I think it definitely was kind of a sign to Gen Z, maybe we shouldn't make assumptions, and also kind of just respect public figures' privacy too, because they're people too, and they have lives and experiences. So I think people were definitely kind of a little embarrassed after. For sure.
Yeah, personally, I think the press and media, the invasion of privacy. I mean, obviously the royal family and Kate herself are going through a lot, and so I think the pressing matters and all the conspiracy theories kind of forced her to make that press release, and all the woman asked for is some time to heal and recuperate. So I think we should respect her privacy.
In a video statement posted to her social media accounts, Kate revealed cancer was found during her abdominal surgery that occurred in January, and said she was in the early stages of chemotherapy. She will be absent from her royal duties for the near future, and she has asked for privacy during her recovery.
Thanks, Sophie. In Haiti, gang violence continues following the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Violent gangs now control much of the country's territory. And since the start of 2024, more than 1,500 people have been killed in gang-related violence. This week, a UN rights expert said that, quote, Haiti now needs between 4,000 and 5,000 international police to tackle the catastrophic gang violence, end quote. The gangs have made 2 attempts to take control of the National Palace and have also begun targeting human rights defenders and journalists. The country's largest airport, Toussaint Louverture Airport in Port-au-Prince, remains closed after the gangs attacked it in early March. The Associated Press estimates that around 1.4 million Haitians are on the verge of famine due to the airport closure and road closures.
TikTok, one of the most popular social media platforms, might be banned in the United States following a new bill. Nicole Akumte has the story.
Earlier this month, the House passed a bill that could ban TikTok in the United States if it does not split from its parent company. This comes after years of unsuccessful negotiations over the platform's fate. The bill would ban sharing, keeping, or updating social media apps believed to be controlled by foreign adversaries of the United States. However, exceptions could be granted if the company sells to a U.S. corporation. The bill explicitly targets TikTok. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, a company based in China. Some lawmakers are concerned that TikTok could enable the Chinese government to further collect information on its American users. TikTok has consistently denied these claims. At a contentious judicial hearing last month, TikTok CEO Xiao Chu said the platform is, quote, free from any manipulation from any government, end quote. To date, the U.S. government has not provided evidence that shows TikTok shared users' data with Chinese authorities. Over 30 countries have enacted a total or partial ban of TikTok. The app is prohibited on government-issued devices in 34 states. Last April, Montana was the first U.S. state to attempt a ban for the public. However, the ban was blocked last December in a district court. At the beginning of this year, Montana filed a notice to appeal. The bill has garnered bipartisan support. During the State of the Union address earlier this month, President Joe Biden promised to sign off on the legislation if it successfully passed through Congress. However, there is growing criticism from across the country, with some calling the move protectionist. On March 12th, the ACLU released a statement calling the bill a violation of First Amendment rights. Senator Rand Paul suggested he would oppose the legislation and could hold the bill, a measure he implemented to prevent the No TikTok on Government Devices Act from proceeding. Of course, the Senate cannot proceed on legislation without unanimous consent. Signing off for GWeek, I'm Nicole Akumte.
Thanks, Nicole. After the break, we will be talking with lifestyle anchors Thea Lawson and Avanti Patwardhan about the upcoming Film Fest DC.
Team after an abysmal year with the Flyers. Andrei Svechnikov makes his return this season.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another installment of GWeek's Lifestyle. With spring in full swing and beautiful weather right around the corner, there's many exciting experiences to choose from, like enjoying the cherry blossoms at the Tidal Basin or spending a week shopping in Georgetown. But today, we're here to let you in on an event that we're particularly excited for.
Film Fest DC, DC's International Film Festival since 1987, is right around the corner, and we wanted to share some great films to look out for. The 10-day festival from April 18th to April 28th features a wide variety of stories, from short films to documentaries to regional language films with filmmakers from all around the world.
Film Fest features 62 films from 36 different countries. Festival director Tony Gittins and Deputy Director Shireen Garib credit this year's selection for its, quote, power to transport, enlighten, entertain, and remind us of the profound way artworks can impact our lives and the world, end quote.
The festival will kick off at the Embassy of France with the screening of Widow Clicquot, a historical drama based on the novel of the same name, about a woman's struggle to protect her family after the death of her husband. Filmmaker Thomas Napper explores the role of women in France during the early 19th century and the challenges they had to overcome. The film stars Haley Bennett, also known for films such as The Devil All the Time and The Equalizer. The screening will begin at 7 p.m. on April 18th and will be followed by a reception. Tickets for opening night must be ordered online and cannot be purchased at the door.
Popular returning film categories include The Lighter Side, featuring international comedies, Arabian Sights, the newest films about the Arab world, and Justice Matters, a celebration of activism around the world. Trust No One is another returning category, bringing viewers into the thrilling world of espionage, along with Worldview, which includes films from the UK, Germany, Belgium, Australia, Japan, and more.
The majority of U.S. films at this year's festival are based on our home turf of Washington, D.C., with categories such as Metro Shorts, including films like Mailman and Room to Breathe, and DC For Real, with films like Bring the Beast and Hope of Escape. There are 2 short stories categories and many short films to look forward to, such as Blood Like Water from Palestine, Night Ride from LA from Germany, and Earthling from the U.S.
Looking for volunteer opportunities? As a nonprofit, Film Fest is always grateful for a helping hand from community volunteers. Duties and responsibilities range from ticket sales and will call to ushering and crowd control. To sweeten the deal, Film Fest volunteers are offered a free ticket to a festival screening of their choice for working 2 festival shifts.
Tickets to all the film screenings will be available to purchase this Friday, April 5th. Opening night tickets are currently open to purchase for the standard price of $45. Ticket purchases are non-refundable. You can find more information about Film Fest DC films and volunteer opportunities on their website, filmfestdc.org. Audience attendance totals over 16,000 every year, so don't miss your chance to see the best fiction, documentaries, animation, and shorts from around the world.
I am really looking forward to the Trust No One category. I gotta be honest, I'm such a sucker for spy movies, especially ones that aren't like big franchises, Mission Impossible, James Bond. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm definitely looking forward to the Blood Like Water from Palestine and definitely the short films because there's definitely a lot of gems in there that aren't acknowledged.
I'm excited for opening night, the French
too.
Embassy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And Haley Bennett, she's an amazing actress. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. President Joe Biden recently signed a $1.2 trillion appropriations package into law, averting a government shutdown. The new bill will keep the government functional until October 1st, preventing last-minute scrambles to maintain government operation. According to CNBC, while the bill was technically agreed upon 2 hours after the Friday deadline, the White House agreed to keep the government open while the bill was undergoing standard procedural actions. However, given the bipartisan nature of the bill, many members were not pleased with its contents. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, unhappy with the spending package, filed a motion to oust Speaker of the House Mike Johnson as soon as the House had completed its voting.
The GW Program Board and the Division of Student Affairs is hosting the annual Spring Fling. It'll be held on Saturday, April 20th at 7 p.m. in the Smith Center, which is different from its usual location of the University Yard. In the past, the event was usually held in U Yard, except for in 2019 and 2023. The event is open to all GW community members, including students, alumni, and faculty. Non-GW community members are also welcome at the event, so if you're in the Foggy Bottom area, make sure to stop by. The highly anticipated Spring Fling will feature a performance from the rapper Quavo, known for his work in the hip-hop group Migos. Make sure to get a ticket before they sell out. I hope I'm going to see you all there.
That's all we have for this episode. For GWeek, I'm Ananya Ganesi.
And I'm Preston Summit. See you around campus, GW.